my girlfriend declared. I'm sending him nudes for his birthday because it's our old tradition. I said, traditions are important. I packed a bag, blocked her on everything, and had her number changed with our phone provider. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. The garlic sizzled as it hit the hot oil, releasing a scent that used to mean home. Qley was perched on a stool at the kitchen island, her feet tucked under her, scrolling through her phone. The scene was a photograph of our life together, my well-worn chef's knife on the cutting board, her ridiculously expensive kombucha next to the stove, the easy silence of a Tuesday night. Jake's birthday is on Friday, she said, not looking up from her screen. I finished dicing the chicken. Okay, sending him a happy birthday? I expected a yes, or maybe a story about him doing something stupid. I didn't expect what came next. Well, it's kind of our thing. She finally looked up, a faint, nostalgic smile on her face. Every year since we broke up, I send him a birthday present. A photo. You know, a special one. The knife stilled in my hand. The sizzle of the pan seemed to grow louder, a frantic counterpoint to the sudden quiet in my head. I turned to face her, wiping my hands on the dish towel. You send your ex-boyfriend nudes for his birthday. She had the grace to look slightly embarrassed, but it was quickly washed away by a wave of self-justification. It's not a big deal, Mark. It's just a fun, silly thing we do. It doesn't mean anything. It's just our tradition. She tilted her head, her eyes narrowing slightly. You're not upset, are you? Don't be so insecure. It's just a photo. Insecure. The word hung in the air between us, as potent as the garlic fumes. It was her trump card, the ultimate shutdown for any objection I might have. For 3 years, any time I expressed a boundary, a concern, a flicker of discomfort, that word was the hammer that nailed it shut. Don't be insecure. Don't be controlling. Don't be so sensitive. But this was different. This wasn't me feeling insecure about her having lunch with a male coworker. This was her openly, blatantly, planning to send another man an intimate image of herself. And she was telling me about it as casually as if she were telling me she was donating to a charity. I looked at her, at the woman I'd helped through her finals, whose family I'd spent holidays with, whose body I knew as well as my own. And in that moment, I didn't see the person I loved. I saw a stranger. A selfish, manipulative stranger who had just handed me the key to her own prison. A cold, clear clarity washed over me, freezing the initial shock and the hot spike of betrayal. There was no argument to be had. No discussion. This was a fundamental fracture. The foundation of our relationship wasn't just cracked, it had vaporized. I could have yelled. I could have listed every sacrifice, every moment of loyalty, every time I'd chosen her. I could have demanded to know how she could be so disrespectful, so cruel. Instead, I felt a profound, settling calm. The decision was made. The path was clear. I shrugged, turning back to the stove and moving the chicken around in the pan. My voice was even, devoid of all emotion. Traditions are important. There was a beat of silence. I could feel her surprise. She was braced for a fight, ready to deploy her arsenal of justifications. My agreement disarmed her completely. Really? She said, a note of cautious triumph in her voice. You're okay with it? Why wouldn't I be? I said, still not looking at her. It's your tradition. Who am I to get in the way of that? I heard the stool scrape back as she stood up. She came up behind me and wrapped her arms around my waist, resting her head against my back. You're the best, you know that? I knew you'd understand. It's just a dumb, meaningless thing. I stood stiffly in her embrace, my hands still on the spatula. Her touch, which usually felt like home, now felt like a violation. The smell of her perfume, once so comforting, was cloying. Yeah, I murmured. Meaningless. She kissed my shoulder blade and let go, humming as she walked out of the kitchen, presumably to go find her phone and choose which meaningless photo to send to another man. I stood there, staring at the browning chicken, the recipe now forgotten. The plan formed in my mind, not as a frantic, emotional reaction, but as a series of calm, logical steps. A checklist. Finish making dinner. Maintain normalcy. Eat. Make polite conversation. Wait for her to leave tomorrow. Execute. The coldness inside me wasn't emptiness. It was focus. It was freedom. She had given me a gift, in her own twisted way. She had shown me exactly who she was, and in doing so, she had liberated me from the person I had become with her. I plated the chicken, my movements automatic. The rest of the evening passed in a surreal haze. We ate. I think we even watched an episode of some show. I have no memory of what it was. My mind was already packing, already planning, already gone. She had her tradition, and I was about to start a new one of my own, the tradition of not being a doormat. The front door clicked shut behind Qley at 9:17 a.m. The sound was the starter's pistol for my new life. Silence descended on the apartment, thick and heavy. I stood in the living room, no longer her boyfriend, but a project manager for my own liberation. The cold clarity from last night had hardened into a focused, emotionless resolve. There was no anger, no sadness, just a to-do list. I started with my own stuff. I went to the bedroom and pulled out my old, pre-Qley duffel bag and a single suitcase. I wasn't here to make a statement by destroying things. I was here to erase my presence. I packed only what was unequivocally mine, the clothes I owned before her, my passport, my important documents, my laptop. I left the sweater she bought me for Christmas folded on the bed. I left the fancy cologne she said she loved on my dresser. I left the framed photo of us at the beach on the nightstand. They were relics of a man who no longer existed. The only personal item I took was my high-end coffee maker. I paid for it, and damn it, I needed good coffee. Next, the note. I didn't need a long, dramatic letter. This wasn't a negotiation. It was a notification. I took a single sheet of printer paper and wrote in clear, block letters. I hope the tradition was worth it. Do not try to contact me. It's over. Mark, I left it on the kitchen island, centered perfectly where the chicken had been last night. The final, most crucial step required leaving the apartment. I drove to the cell phone provider store, the one where I was the primary account holder. The air inside was cool and smelled of sanitizer. A young guy with a company-logoed shirt smiled at me from behind the counter. "What can we do for you today?" My voice was calm, polite. "I'd like to remove my number from my family plan and start a new, individual account." "Sure, we can do that." "Number?" I gave him my number. He typed, clicked. "Okay, and what about the other line on the account?" For Qley, this was the moment, the point of no return. I felt nothing but certainty. "I'd like to change the number for that line as well," I said, my tone as casual as if I were ordering a coffee. Effective immediately. The clerk blinked. "You want to change her number? She'll get a new one right away, and the old one will be deactivated." "I understand," I said. "Please proceed." He did his job, his fingers flying across the keyboard. He handed me a new SIM card for my phone and a slip of paper with Qley's new, random number on it. I thanked him, walked out to the parking lot, and dropped the slip with her new number into a storm drain. It was gone forever. By 1 p.m., I was in my new, furnished studio apartment across town. It was bland, beige, and perfect. It was mine. I set up my laptop and my coffee maker. That was all I needed. The first sign of the unraveling came at 2:30 p.m. My new phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. But I knew. Unknown number. "Hey, my texts to you are green all of a sudden, and my calls are going straight to voicemail. What's going on?" I didn't respond. I muted the conversation. At 3:15 p.m., my new voicemail indicator lit up. I played it on speaker as I unpacked my suitcase. Her voice, annoyed. "Mark, this isn't funny. My phone is being weird. I can't call anyone. My apps won't load. Call me back." I deleted it. The next voicemail came at 4:45 p.m. The tone had shifted from annoyance to pure, unadulterated panic. Her voice, shaky and fast. "Okay, I'm home. Where are your things? What is this note? What did you do? Call me right now. Please. My phone isn't working, and just call me." I could hear the tears threatening to break through. I deleted that one too. I ordered takeout and watched a movie. I slept more soundly that night than I had in years. The next morning, my new phone rang. The screen showed it was Sarah, one of the few mutual friends I actually respected. I answered. "Mark? Holy crap. Are you okay?" Her voice was laced with genuine concern. "I'm fine, Sarah," I said, taking a sip of my perfectly brewed coffee. "What's up?" "Qley is blowing up my phone. She's hysterical. She's saying you moved out and left a note, and that her phone doesn't work, and then she started freaking out about something else entirely." I didn't say anything. I just waited. Sarah took a deep breath. Look, this is ugly. She found out that Jake, the idiot, showed the photo she sent him to his buddies at a bar last night. He was bragging. Someone took a video of it on his phone, of him scrolling through it. It's making the rounds in their group chat. Probably beyond that by now. She's completely hysterical. Humiliated. I looked out the window of my new apartment at the city skyline. The sun was shining. I felt a distant, abstract sense of poetic justice, but no pleasure. No sympathy. It was just a fact, like the weather. I see, I said, my voice flat. Thanks for letting me know. Sarah was silent for a moment, stunned by my detachment. That's it. I see. Mark, she's a mess. Her mess is no longer my concern, Sarah. I appreciate you calling. I hope you're doing well. I ended the call. I placed the phone back on the counter. The silence in my new home was peaceful. It was the sound of a chapter closing, the ink already dry. The chaos on the other side of the city was a storm I could no longer hear. The peace of my new life was a fortress, and the first siege began that afternoon. My phone buzzed, the screen showing a number I didn't recognize, but the area code was the same as Qley's family. I felt a cold certainty. I let it ring. A minute later, the voicemail notification appeared. I played it on speaker, my hands busy assembling a bookshelf for my new apartment. Her voice was a ragged, wet mess, choked with sobs. Mark, please pick up. I'm so sorry. It was a stupid mistake. You were right. Jake is a pig. He showed everyone. Everyone has seen it. I'm so humiliated. I need you. Please, I have no one else to talk to. You're the only one who understands me. The manipulation was so transparent, it was almost clinical. I need you. I have no one else. Not, I love you. Not, I miss you. It was a confession of utility. I was the emotional first aid kit she expected to be waiting in the cabinet after she set her own life on fire. I deleted the message, the sound of her weeping vanishing as if it had never existed. The next assault came via email. Her mother, Carol. The subject line was, "Be the bigger person. Mark, Qley is devastated. She made a silly error in judgment, but what you're doing is cruel and disproportionate. A real man would find forgiveness in his heart. She is hurting and alone. Call her. Carol." I read it once. A silly error in judgment. Not a betrayal. Not a profound disrespect. A silly error. It confirmed everything I'd ever suspected about the ecosystem that had created Qley. I highlighted the email and pressed delete. It felt like wiping a smudge off a lens. The view was clearer now. For 2 days, there was silence. I assumed she was licking her wounds, or perhaps her mother had taken her in. I focused on my new routine, the good coffee, the quiet work hours, the exploration of my new neighborhood. I was building a life, brick by quiet brick, and the mortar was setting. Then, on the third day, another unknown number. This one had a different area code. A friend from college, perhaps, or a burner app. Something in me decided it was time. Not for her. For me. For closure. To speak the final words so the silence that followed would be absolute and of my choosing. I took a deep breath and answered. I didn't speak. I could hear her sharp, shaky intake of breath on the other end. Mark? Oh my God, you picked up. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I said nothing. I just waited. Please, can we just talk? I'll do anything. I'll go to therapy. I'll never speak to anyone again. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I can't live without you. Her voice was raw, stripped of its former smugness, reduced to a desperate plea. It should have evoked something in me. Pity, perhaps, or a flicker of old affection. But there was nothing. Just a vast, quiet emptiness where she used to be. Qley. I said her name. It was the first word I'd spoken to her since traditions are important. My tone was flat, clean, final. It held no anger, no resentment, no warmth. It was the voice of a bank teller confirming a transaction. She sobbed, a sound of pure relief. Yes, I'm here. I delivered the sentence I had composed in my mind, the only one that needed to be said. It was the truth, pure and simple. The moment you hit send on that photo, you became a stranger to me. I paused, letting the words hang in the digital space between us. I could hear her breathing stop. Strangers don't get to call me. Do not contact me again. I didn't wait for a response. I didn't hear the broken wail I knew was coming. I simply ended the call. Then, with methodical calm, I blocked that number too. The circuit was now complete. The bridge was not just burned. Its very coordinates had been erased from the map. A week later, I was in a coffee shop down the street from my new place. The morning sun was warm on my back. I was reading a book, not my phone. The paper pages a tangible anchor to the present. My phone buzzed once on the table. A text lit up the screen. It wasn't from an unknown number. It was from Sarah, the architect I'd met at a gallery opening a few days prior. "Hey, hope you're having a good morning. That exhibit we talked about is on until Sunday. Free tonight?" I smiled. A real, unforced smile that reached my eyes. I typed back a reply, my thumb moving with easy certainty. The memory of Qley, of the tears, the voicemails, the entire messy drama, surfaced for a second. But it had no weight, no charge. It was like remembering a bland movie I'd seen years ago, a brief, inconsequential static on a clear signal, already faded and forgotten. I was already moving forward, into the quiet, sunlit future I had built for myself. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.